I got a private message from someone who watches Sergeant Willie Pete's videos, and they had seen that I left a comment on one of his videos where he was responding to a white guy named Amway Boot Camp. But anyway, my comment was something to the effect of that Sergeant Willie Pete shouldn't have responded to the video, but if he was going to respond to it, he should have come up with stronger points because, the point that he did raise just didn't knock it out of the park the way you would need to if you're going to respond to a video like that. Now, this video isn't to Sergeant Willie Pete, but you can respond if you really want to, but this video is to the person who emailed me. I'm not going to say the name of the person, but if they choose to reveal themselves, then fine. Alright, so basically they wrote me saying, well, you must not understand how white guys feel about white girls who date black guys. I'm not really sure why you think that, because I watched the video by Amway Boot Camp, and if I had never heard it before, which I have, I would know from that. So I am aware of how non-black men feel about women of their own race who date black men, and it's not just white guys either. That's not what I'm disagreeing with, or that's not why I made the comment. It has nothing to do with disagreeing with that or not believing that it's true. Then you asked, well, if Sergeant Willie Pete didn't nail it, what would you have said? Well, actually, I would have said nothing, because this is one of those examples of when you have to say, I'm not even going to dignify that with a response. Just like that 8 reasons to date a white guy list should have been ignored. I'm telling you right now, for Amway Boot Camp and the person who wrote those 8 reasons, half the fun was getting the reaction from you. And in that sense, if you respond, they win. Especially if you respond emotionally. And in some cases, and this is just some, responding confirms that what they're saying is true. But anyway, one thing I want to say is that the 8 reasons and the video by Amway come from the same place. Both parties have undoubtedly been offended by black men, so it's like they're saying, oh, you want to offend me? You want to think you're better than me? Well, I'll put you in your place. I'll show you where you really stand. And even if you come back and make the point that, oh, you're just making this video because you're mad or you're bitter or you're jealous, alright, that might be their motive for telling you, but that doesn't mean that what they're saying isn't true. And I'm not saying it is or isn't, but I'm just saying, even if they're telling you because they're jealous, that doesn't make what they're saying false. I consider Amway Boot Camp's video to be the same as John Mayer's comment about not fucking black women. If I, as a black woman, respond to that, and especially angrily, then that tells him that I care that he doesn't want to fuck me. But flip that around and have me say, there's no way I'd fuck John Mayer. And let's ignore for the moment the fact that he has no idea who I am, but let's just say he did, or he heard me say this. Do you think he'd care? So in the same vein, if white guys are telling you we don't want any white women that black men have fucked, plus any white woman who would choose a black man over a white man, there must be something wrong with her. If that's what they're saying, so what? Responding to it confirms that you care that they don't want what you've had. But there's no good reason for you to care about that. There really isn't. Now, don't get that confused with, like, if I go into a store and they're following me around because I'm black and they think I'm going to steal something. That I care about. Or if I go to apply for a job and they think I'm not going to be able to do the job because I'm black. Again, I care about that. But if they're just telling me I don't like the way you look, I don't want to fuck you, I don't want to marry you, I don't care. The best response to stuff like that is no response at all. I mean, just think about it, really. Do you think he posted that video because he didn't want angry responses? Do you think he wanted a nice, calm forum to discuss the matter, or that he was just letting you know as a public service announcement? No, you can even tell by the little snarky annotations he put in there. He was trying to show black men where they stand, and by responding you confirm that he's either correct, or that you care that he sees you that way. But imagine if that guy posted that video and didn't get any responses, or at least not from black men. That would bust his little bubble so fast. That would be kind of like a beautiful woman coming out the house just looking perfect, hair done, nails done, everything done, yet no men even look at her the whole day. I guarantee you she's going to lose some confidence. Or even like when some of you black guys say that you were approached in a club by a white woman who just knew she had you in the bag but you rejected her, and she gets this look on her face like, I can't believe it, or how dare you? It's the same thing with this guy. Ignoring him would go way further than any response. So anyway, Pete posed the question that if white women who get with black men are whores, would that also apply to your daughter if she got with a black man? First of all, that's an appeal to emotion, which is a logical fallacy. That's not to say that appeals to emotion are never appropriate or necessary, but they really have no place in a real debate. But besides that, it's just a very weak argument because it doesn't take any thought. You really can say, well, what if it was you, to any argument. Like, for example, if we were arguing the death penalty. I'm for the death penalty and you're against. And you say, well, what if your son committed a crime? Would you still be for it then? Or if I say, well, I think illegal immigrants should be deported or imprisoned. Oh, well, what if it was you? Or what if it was one of your family members? Would you still want them deported then? Or if I say, Bill, every time you come in my office, you take a pen off my desk and you never return it. So you owe me about 12 pens by now, so could you just buy me another pack and bring it back? Well, what if your 3-year-old daughter took the pens off your desk? Would you make her buy you a pack? Now that last one was a bit ridiculous, but it was ridiculous on purpose. Obviously, people make exceptions for themselves and their family. First of all, if Amway Boot Camp felt that way, he would probably tell his daughter ahead of time not to get with black guys or she would be a whore. But if she did, he probably would make an exception for her, or he would do like some hardcore racist parents and say, if you bring a black man to this house, don't bother coming. You're no longer going to be our daughter. Even if this guy does make an exception for his daughter, does that change how he feels in general about white women who get with black men? No. So what's the point? I personally am tired of illegal immigration, but I had a best friend who was illegal from Chile for like 3 years. Did I want her deported? No, she was my friend. But does that change how I feel about the lot of illegal immigrants? No, it doesn't. So in that situation, if you had asked me, well, what if it was you or what if it was your best friend? It would have been good and irrelevant. I mean, and here's a better example. Strom Thurmond. He voted against civil rights for black folks, but got a black woman pregnant, which means he was voting against rights for her and his own baby. I think maybe what that guy might do if he wanted to give his daughter a pass if she got with a black guy, if he was a decent guy, he would say, well, this black guy is respectable, so this doesn't count as my daughter being a whore. And I know that Pete said in his video that white men say this about white women regardless of the caliber of the black man, but I still think this is the type of loophole that the guy would use. So anyway, the moral of that long story is that what if it was you is just a poor argument because people make exceptions for themselves. Alright, another reason I don't like it when black guys respond to stuff like this is because they never come back with things that are equal. Like if a white guy's being a dick and he says, haha, we own everything, and a black guy comes back with, well, we got the biggest dicks. And at that point, I just do a face palm. That embarrasses me as a black person. White racists like to call that argument MUH, M-U-H, dick. And I really wish black guys would stop making that argument. I mean, that's what I want for Christmas, that right there. You'd be better off not saying anything, but please, if you say something, not my dick. Anything but my dick. And another way that you don't respond with equal stuff is when they say, okay, we don't want any women that black men have had. Rarely do I hear black guys say that we don't want black women who white men have fucked. The only black men I've ever heard say something like that was the Afrocentric pro-black type. The type that don't like white people, period. So if you're going to respond to something like, well, we don't want white women that black men have had, then you're going to at least have to respond with something equal, like, okay, we don't want black women that white men have had. If they're saying you taint our women, then what do they taint for you? And instead of answering that question, a lot of black guys come back with, well, we be pulling some of your baddest chicks. Well, okay, but they just said that anything you touch, they don't want back, regardless of how good the chick is, or bad. So how's that a rebuttal? That would only be a good comeback if they said, okay, if it's a really, really good white woman, we'll take her back after a black guy. They didn't say that. Now, he did make the point that the reason that non-black guys don't want women who have been with black men is partly because of penis envy and some kind of sexual envy, which is a valid point, and I'm sure that does come into play. But you can't discount the fact that there are negative things associated with being black. And that's regardless of whether you're male or female. Whether it's because they automatically think that because the person's black they're going to be poor or uneducated or a criminal or on welfare or whatever else. Those are the type of things that go through people's head when you say, oh, I'm dating a black person. And that's some people, of course, not all. But anyway, think about it this way. If a guy approached me and wanted to date me and I thought he was nice enough, but then I find out that his last girlfriend was like Lil' Kim, I'm not going to want to date him. I'm going to wonder what was wrong with you that you went for that. I mean, did you bump your head? Were you taking drugs? Did she have some dirt on you? Why would you be attracted to that? And that's probably the same thought process that some of these non-black guys have about black guys. They associate you guys with negative things, so if a white woman chooses a black guy, they're going to think there's something wrong with her. Because, I mean, why else would she be attracted to that? But black guys shouldn't be offended by that because it's not specific, it's general. It's a stereotype that they're going to put on you regardless of how you act, So you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, so why respond? You're not going to prove them wrong, or you're not going to change their mind. The white men who apply that rule apply it to all white women who have been with black men regardless of the caliber of the man. No rebuttal you can come up with is going to make you not be a black guy, so skip it. I don't see a way you can win that argument, even if you make the argument that, oh, we're pulling some of your best chicks. Well, like I said before, that doesn't make a difference. They still don't want them. They're still telling you they don't want anything that you've touched. That's the very thing that offended you in the first place, and you didn't even shoot that down. So all you've really done is tell them that you're offended that they don't want to eat after you. Which, might I add, is nothing to be offended about, because who the fuck are they anyway? Don't validate the pedestal they put themselves up on. The next point I want to bring up is that it's funny how black people will take the word of a racist, but only when that racist is saying something that the black person wants to hear. For example, that white lady who went off on that racist rant on that black UPS guy, I guess he was. I cannot believe how many black men said, see, even white women know that black women are working against black men. Yeah, she also said black people had lower IQs. Do you take that part too? What about all the other shit she said? And even with this Amway boot camp guy, he makes a video about how white men don't want white women after they've been with black men. And the black guy say, oh, that's some bullshit. But then he makes another video basically talking about how black women are gold diggers. All of a sudden, standing ovation. That white boy ain't never lied. It must be true if even the white boy's saying it. I mean, otherwise, why would he say it? Why would he say it? Hell, they do that with me. I make a video about women. Clap, 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 clap. Sister, I thank God for you. You're a jewel among stones. I make a video about men. Oh, you on welfare. So in conclusion, could you guys please stop responding to stuff like that? And if not for yourselves, for me, because I am a victim of that. Back when I was dating, I've actually had a couple of non-black boyfriends, you know, when we got ready to get to that point in our relationship, say something like, well, I don't know if this is going to be what you're used to. And I'm like, what? What I'm used to? Seriously, do you know how awkward that is? So anyway, like I said, if you could stop, that'd be great. If not for yourself, do it for me. And if not for me, well, if your mom asked you to do it, would you stop then? Huh?